Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Do Andrew Conspiracy. We have myself, Mr. Andrew, and my lovely co-host, Mr. Do.
Hi, are you?
Not today, not yet. um, and we're here to conspire with you and each other, and we're gonna do that in the normal fashion with some simple breath work. And with simple being on the mind, I thought we would keep it real easy and do the box breath. Everyone loves the box breath. So that's 4 second inhale, 4 second hold at the top, 4 second exhale, and 4 second hold at the bottom, making a box. Pretty simple, right? I think we all can manage that, even on this day. And yeah, if you want to get any wiggles out, kind of settle into wherever you are.
The
Watch,
wing, the wing shake.
yeah, whatever you need to get some energy out. Yeah, if it's the duck wing shake, then that's great. And if you can close down the eyes, if you're able to do so, that's always a nice way to kind of center. Listen to the bird that's chirping at me through the window, and we'll settle into this space and take a nice, slow, deep inhale in. 1, 2, 3, 4, holding at the top. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And then hold at the bottom. 2, 3, 4. And then I'll join you for, we'll do 3 more. So inhale in. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. And one more. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Hold. And we're there.
Great.
Yeah, feels good. Feels good to settle in.
I
Did you have
just
a?
want to say, we do like very brief breath work here, but one of the most transformative experiences I ever had, like integrating myself, was basically after an hour-long breath work session that I had with this lady named her name was Rivera. I can't Adrian, I think. But anyway, she has like a big breathwork, job career, and but and I did it like probably like 10, 15 times. But it was only this one time to really like knock me out of my socks and like made me like really like help me like integrate everything into like the present day. This was like probably 7 years ago, but it had like it was earth shaking. It stayed with me, the revelations that I had that night, and I just want to say, don't underestimate the power of breath.
No, it's the original plant medicine, 100%, right? It's oxygen coming from plants into your body. It's also maybe even the breath of God. How about that?
Right.
Like,
That's our
so
conspiracy, Andrew.
indeed, it sure is. It sure is. To conspire, to breathe together is the essence of human. We talked about this before. You can survive so long without water, so long without food, but see how long you can go without breath. That's gonna be your limiting factor. So we gotta keep breathing together to create the things that we want to create.
And the more we breathe together, the more we rise together.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I feel it. I love your Lake Tahoe shirt today too. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
I got this when I went on a WFG field trip with my team and back in 23, and there was like a lunar eclipse at the same time that I was gone. So, and nobody famous died, which was even more amazing. Because it used to be when I'd leave Hackensack, somebody famous would die. Or I remember one time I went to visit Hugh in Maine, and it was like an all-night bus trip, and so. That was the day that Alexander Haig resigned as Secretary of State back, under Reagan or what. But it was just like something momentous would always happen whenever I left. But surprisingly, nothing momentous happened when I left and came to Colorado Springs. Maybe because we grounded the whole way and drove, but so uh, it seemed like we could have avoided some bad karma by driving, Andrew.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's because we're co-creating from a position of Christ-centeredness and just
And the
in
other
in the year zero. So
That's the whole point. The other thing is we're in the year after Fred, so there is no Fred, so there is no death, even though nobody believes me yet. But as we rise to subconscious, everybody's going to come to see that Warlord, not Fred. Fred was just like a reflection of Warlord, but Warlord is dead, and war is now obsolete. And as our influence grows and the bomb on the collective subconscious continues to expand, everybody's going to see more and more.
agreed. Agreed. Did you have a poem you wanted to get us started with today?
Sure.
Oh, before we
So,
dive into your poem, I want to give just a little bit of my fit check. So
oh,
you
okay.
you can see here I'm rocking 2024. I don't know if it's in reverse, but it's Dejan Bowden. That's his album that he released this year. I'm officially a part of Dharma Glow Records now. It's a new development too. We'll link to all this in the description. And then this is some of our God is Love merch. It's got it big on the back too, and I
Beautiful.
have to I have to say, like, it has been a great conversation starter. My neighbor across the street saw it and made a point to like stop and talk to me, and he wanted to go full conversation into like my full philosophical belief, and I'm
Right.
like, I think we should sit down for that.
Plus, it's pretty obvious when you have God as love. That's all you need.
Well, that is the essence of it, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
bro. Absolutely. But anyway, we can continue on and I'll talk more about
Uh,
it.
I'll read the poem, then we'll go into Dharma Glow and what Dijon and you and everybody is doing. So, this is called After Many Personal Growth Courses. I'm not Buddha deifying myself, but am just a metaphysical elf, writing about my joyous days on Earth, only planet where all creatures give birth, at least as far as we humans can know, although I do not believe we're alone. For universe is a tremendous show, upon which Lord's light has forever shone, and humanity's quest has just begun, having reached third stage of evolution, going through technical revolution, where we're now beginning to have some fun, thus to realize our endless potential, but to end violence is essential.
Amazing. That's very on theme, bro. When was that written?
That was written, let me see, in the 6/13/18, which was the 30th day of due.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Back in June 18,
June
2018.
18th, 2018. Okay.
Well, it was like the first early due revelations about what the new world is going to be like.
But I don't remember when you entered the state of dew, like chronologically speaking.
That's why this is such a valuable collection, because the first poem is the first day of due, May 15th, 2018.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So that book was all, okay, 2018. But still, I mean, that's 7 years ago and still feels very alive now, right? I think you've almost evolved maybe just a little, like a next iteration beyond, kind of the mindset in that poem. But, because we're here, we're actually in zero, right?
Right,
And
right,
it's like those things have come into fruition now.
right.
Yeah.
And we're the party of fun.
Indeed, the fun party. Speaking of fun party, that is what Dharma Glow is about, right? So I haven't really talked about this a lot on the podcast yet, but it feels appropriate to bring it in. It's been a big part of my 2025, and is the trip that basically took me out to the East Coast so I could go see Dale was for Dharma Glow also, and so feels relevant to start kind of bringing that in just a little bit. So Dharma Glow is an organization started by my good friend John Bowden, and it's a group of people who are in alignment with Christ consciousness. That's the organizing principle of the group. And he's also a musician and has put out this album 2024. Highly recommended. It's on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms, and it's literally one of my favorite albums. It's like spiritual hip hop with his own special flavor, and it's super uplifting, encouraging, and then it also kind of transitions to almost like a sexy vibe too. So it's a journey. I recommend listening to the whole thing if you have the chance. But so I'm excited about that, and we're working on building out the record label and expanding sort of the reach to also elevate, you know, the retreats and the big globe event that he's been hosting now for 5 years. And so, you know, I went to 2 of the retreats this year, and the Glow Up specifically, and enjoyed all of it, and was participating in the Way of the Heart calls. And it just came to a point. It's like we're pretty in alignment here, and we're both wanting to create community and do things like that. And it just felt like it's time to do something together. And so he actually came to my home, Colorado Springs, before we left for Austin, and started settling into the space, and you know, kind of giving it its own Dharma Glow flair, so we can vibe out and host events and have it sort of be like the home base, right? A little bit of I like to think of Superman's, what do you call it? The
Fortress of Solitude.
Oh yes, the Fortress of Solitude. Like that's it's no more. It's not solitude anymore. It's the Fortress of Consciousness. How about that? And so it's a safe space to be you. And so that's where it's starting. And you know, 2026 is going to be a whole other thing. We've shed the skin, right? The year of the snake for 2025. Yep. And now it's the year of the horse. It's time to trot. It's trying to move. It's trying to, you know, get things done, right?
To gallop long distances. Unimaginably long distances we never conceived we could cover walking.
Yeah, indeed. Well, and you know, to see what we can co-create with people who are of a similar vibration, right? I mean, Dale, you and I have experienced powerful co-creation when we've been together, and Dejan and I are, you know, leaning into that with even the community. Jami came here to the house today. I know you know her. And so there's like this cool core element of people now that are built around this principle, and to really grow that, expand it out. That's what, and same for our podcast, right? We got the core element of it now. We met each other. We've gone through all these things to get to this point where it feels like the foundation is solid. And so like that's to me the seed planting. 2025 is all about planting seeds and kind of nurturing them, having fertile soil for them to grow in, right?
Letting the THC, what is it? THC germinate so that they can grow into good plants.
Absolutely.
Even though 2025 has been hard for everybody, that's basically what we're doing. Everybody's seeds were just going in the ground, and everybody was in darkness because they were seeds covered by the ground. But now the seeds are starting to sprout, and everybody's trees and plants and THC crops are going to spring up like mushrooms I saw at Dartmouth.
Indeed.
Did I ever tell you that story?
I don't recall that story. Is a story time with do?
This is like one of Dale's most famous stories. So basically, this was like basically about 4 days before I got taken away from Dartmouth. And as you know, I had like a job as a Frisbee pro lined up to Central America. And so I like said, forget Dartmouth studies. I'm just going to become a better Frisbee player. So, you know, all the other Dartmouth students were either exhausted or paying attention to their studies. So one day the only guy who I could play with was like this 10-year-old pro, you know? I mean, for a 10-year-old, he was like an excellent frisbee player and everything. So he and I are like throwing it back and forth in front of this dormitory at Dartmouth. And I look behind me and there's nothing. There's just grass. I said, okay, fine. So throw it to him. Kid throws it back. I look behind me. Out of nowhere has popped up like 30 like mushrooms. So I say, wow. So I throw the frisbee over the kid's head so he won't see me getting the mushrooms and run and like eat like five of them and like grab like seven in my hand. And there's like this big crowd outside the dormitory. And I like go up and say to him, "Bunch of magic mushrooms?" No, I meant, and they were all like they were all sort of like standoffish and everything. And this is only something that I came up with about 40 years later. What if those mushrooms didn't really exist? What if they were all a hallucination? But the fact
I was
is,
wondering, what if they weren't actually magic mushrooms and you just ate some crazy other substance?
well, the way they popped up, they were definitely magic mushrooms. They were like that. I mean, at that point, I was like looking at sweat on my arm, and it was like kernels of corn. I mean, it was like corn stalks and everything.
Yeah,
So
checks out. Checks out.
basically, I didn't question that they weren't magic mushrooms for me, you know. So and but for the next 20 years, that was the apocryphal story that followed me everywhere. Everybody would say, tell them about the mushrooms, Dale. So, when people were like asking for credibility, and then some people who experienced it as said, there was the guy who had the best pot from New York City, who was an alumnus of Dartmouth. I went to his apartment and everything, and he said, "If you're God, spring up some mushrooms right now in my bedroom."
Yeah,
So I can't do that. But
not
that's
yet.
like how far the mushroom story spread.
Amazing. Okay. Magical, truly magical magic mushrooms. Just,
And 3 days later, I was in the infirmary being taken away.
oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how close this was to the event. All right, all right. Well, more mystery and intrigue around that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. But so I didn't mean to divert us from Dharma Club. I love the hat. I love the sweatshirts. Did they have T-shirts? And I mean, like, how do people like find Dijon? And I know what I want to say is that one thing I want Dijon to consider is spoken word records, like
I
poetry.
mentioned it to him, bro. I mentioned it to him. Yeah, I think we're gonna be opening up a more creative portal for sure, and that's literally what that's like his deal is Christ-centered community with conscious creators, right? Soul-centered creators, because we're all inherently creators. That's what Christ consciousness is all about. Is like we're creating our reality, but that also then it's like important for humans to have a creative outlet, right? And to be able to express themselves however that is. And, that can be anything. It can be journaling, poetry, singing, painting, anything you can think of, really. Movement, yoga, like whatever, right? Like whatever gets your energy moving and helps you kind of get to a more centered place is how I like to think of it. And that's the goal. That's the community. That's the organizing principle of what it is. And I think we were talking the other day about different groups we've been in, and like if they had a true like sort of organizing principle, or if they didn't. And it felt like it was essential to have that in order to build something with like longevity and cohesiveness. So
Even if it's just a leader with vision, like Gabby.
sure. Yeah, like Gabby. Yeah, I wouldn't call her thing one specific vein, but she is the organizing principle for sure.
Right.
And she's very powerful in her presence. And even if it is sort of calm and collected and whatever it is, right?
Yes,
So
Empress
anyway,
energy.
yeah, yeah, it's like, it's just, it feels like, it was a bit intimidating at first to like step into like this newer, more outward facing role, but at the same time, every step I've made along this path where it felt a little scary, like once I made the step, I could look back and be like, oh yeah, obviously. And so I'm kind of just continuing in that vein, trusting the process, trusting the unfolding of this. And, let's go back to our podcast episode 2 episodes ago, right? We had Miss Chenge on to interview, and now there's this friendship, or maybe more budding, and a plan for her to come to the United States and do like compete and like connect in person, and like that's what it's all about for me, right? Those in-person connections are truly what I desire, and so it's happening. Like, my buddy's wedding is in Sedona, Arizona, the day after the equinox in spring, March
Beautiful.
21st, and Chenge has agreed to be my date to his wedding. So assuming everything goes according to plan, that's happening. And it freaking was blowing my mind, bro. Like, it's I was listening to The Way of the Heart today, and basically there was a line that said, when you're living in alignment, the people and situations that come into your life will create almost like a sense of amazement and wonder and awe, because it
Right.
just feels like beyond what you could have like conjured up on your own. And I feel like this is the lived experience of that. And it's all very exciting.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. I mean, we were talking before the show. Basically, my goal at this point is to unify my fields. I have like different fields that are basically separated and separate and maybe even like antagonistic somewhat towards each other. And it's just really a matter of like how to align myself so that I, as King Dale do Dale, can like satisfy all the demands being made on me. And you know that as I said, it's taking 5/9 of my brain power, 5/9 of the dialing of power to integrate all this. But as Empress says, just be the king, Dale. So I will, and I made it clear to my sisters that I am back to being the king, and whether they like to acknowledge it or not, the king is in charge. So they're princesses, but I'm the king.
Yeah, bro. I like it. I like it. No, I think we were talking about it's this new level of like self sovereignty and self creation, right? Like we we are the masters of our domain, as Seinfeld would say,
Right.
and maybe that wasn't always the case. Maybe we were a little more passive. Maybe we were letting life come at us a little bit, but that is no longer the case, at least as far as I can see.
Well,
And so it is important to reorient these different relationships that maybe have gotten used to one version of you, and say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. Like we got a whole new vibe going on here, guys, and I want to understand what it's like to work together now from this perspective, and it can change everything. I believe it will. It is changing everything.
well, it's it basically becoming aware of like subtle subconscious manipulation tactics that basically have been ingrained and embedded in everybody's mind, and breaking those illusions about the other person by your own presence. I mean, basically, you have to show the other person that you're a new person, and sometimes that can take a while because ultimately there's comfort and familiarity in the old things, and change is very very counterproductive a lot of times.
Well, it's like the acceptance of the change, right? To be able to feel it and trust it and know it, because some people can just do it, right? But some people need a little more time. They need a few reps to see, oh, this is the new Dale. It's not just a one-off experience, right? There's some consistency to it. That's how I feel people get more comfortable. It is a little bit irritating because it's like, can't we just be present with what is? Do we have to drag all this shit into the present and then slowly like let it go? But that seems to be a process for a lot of people, and I don't need all that. What is it now? That's all I care about. I don't care what it was. I don't care where you came from. If you want to tell me, you can tell me. But like, it I just need to know what it is now, and then we can build from there. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're hosting an event here on Sunday the 21st here in Austin, Texas. So that'll be exciting. And we've been hosting the Heart of Christ for 12 days leading up to Christmas. So today was day
Tell me
4.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Heart of Christ, it's a 12-day sadhana, and we do some breath work, some meditation, some journaling, and then we listen to one of the Christ consciousness transmissions from the Way of the Heart. And like I said, today was day 4. Day 4 is the lesson 4 is all about desire, and it's my favorite episode.
Okay.
Desire is literally the thing that creates this experience. If we did not desire, none of this would exist. That's how I see it. I desired to see you, so I went to New Jersey, right? Without desire, my body doesn't go there, right? And to learn to trust your desires, to cultivate desires, like when they come up within you, because we're taught that a lot of desires are like wrong or bad, like the desire to have sex or desire to eat a bowl of ice cream or whatever it is, right? Like, and it doesn't mean we act on every desire that pops in the old noggin. There's some discernment there, but we also don't just like shove them down and pretend like they don't exist. We let them come up and see how they feel, and the exercise that they suggested at the end of this lesson that I think is really beautiful is spend like 5 to 15 minutes each day for a week just writing down what you desire. It can be anything in that moment, right? And so maybe you ask yourself that question a handful of times or so, and write it down, and then do that the next day and do it for several days, and then start to observe if there's patterns. Like, oh, this day I was desiring this day I was desiring that. Oh, and then the 4th day I went back to the first day's desire, and the 5th day, and so you'll kind of get an idea of like where your desires are pointing over a little broader piece of time, right? So that you're capturing multiple perspectives. And then, see what the patterns are, and then start to operate from that, right? Point your engine of desire in those directions and create from there. And with the energy of love and God moving through you, and then just see what happens. And
Well,
I think
it's
that's what.
interesting. You should say write down your goal. Write down like what you want, because not only does Grant Cardone like tell everybody to do that every morning, but in adversity into advantage, the thing I'm just started with Jamar on my other show, Con and the Duck. The first lesson of turning adversity into advantage is writing down your goals. And he like really emphasizes that, how important it is to write down your goals, because there's some in your mind and manifestation that, if you just have an idea in your head, it's going to probably float away. But if you write it down, and what you said about like writing down for a week or even longer is very useful, because you ultimately figure out what you really want instead of just like passing distractions, because they'll come up in the pattern, something that like constantly shows up in the pattern.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful exercise, and I haven't fully done it, so that's my challenge this week, is to actually engage with the practice and feel it. That being said, I feel like everything I did create like a vision board at the beginning of the year, and and you know, I can look back now at those things and see that they're all happening. Like I said, I desired more community. I have more community. I desire the divine feminine. Seems like that's coming in too,
Right,
right? and you know, there's a whole list of things, but that's the point. Is if you don't kind of put it out there, it's like the universe doesn't necessarily know what to give you, so it's just going to give you random shit, you know. And so, like not that you have to be narrowed down, but set a vision and then have openness for something even bigger, right?
well, I think of like Sarah Longoria, who was a coach I had for a while. She made millions of dollars and lost millions of dollars and everything. She's like into like DNA reprogramming of your wealth and everything. But basically, she always used to say, the universe is like a restaurant. You go to a restaurant and you say to to the waiter, "I want chicken." So the waiter goes back to the chef and says, "Chicken." And the chef goes, "Well, what kind of chicken? What kind of hell of a chicken do you want? Do you want baked chicken? You want fried chicken? Do you want boiled chicken? I mean, do you want chicken brancese, chicken Alfredo?" So then the waiter goes back and says, "Well, what kind of chicken do you want?" And so the guy like looks at the menu and says, "Chicken Alfredo." And so he goes back and he says, "What does he want? White sauce or red sauce?" But you get the idea, the universe is always asking you what you want when you say that you want it, but you have to be like specific. The more specific, I'm not saying I just leave it general. I'm expecting $1 million by New Year's.
Yeah.
And I'm not focusing on the 3-inch radar screen. I'm focusing on the IMAX screen. So that's basically what I feel. And I think I told you I called 6 John Dialing to control today. Oh, sirens in the background. Uh, I called Dialing to control today, and they were closed down. I think it was true. I guess they weren't ready to hear I wanted $1 million from Santa.
I guess not, bro. Yeah, we'll see how long that closure lasts.
Yeah.
That's noteworthy.
If
Yeah,
they
I
finally
always.
got sick of Dale, have they shut him down?
They're literally screening for your call, like they programmed in your
Right.
number.
The Matrix didn't like all my calls. I was corrupting the nurses.
Oh shit. Yes. So it's like, you know, this conspiracy that we, you know, started 40 episodes ago. Can you believe it? This is our
I
40th
know.
episode. Um, is like actually like achieving its goals in ways, right? It's like we can
Right.
feel like the conspiracy spreading in our field. And I think that's what it's about, right? That inner work produces the outer reflection, and the outer reflection is shifting to something that I never would have, well, I haven't dreamed possible yet, right?
Right.
And so now it's like, okay, how can we expand it more? How can we hold, how much of God's love can you hold? Are you willing to receive? To me, that is the limiting factor, right? And the more you're able to receive, the more you're able to hold, also the more you're able to extend out into the world, and it becomes this beautiful, like, self-expanding flywheel, they call it.
The more self-expanding you become, the more love from God you can receive.
Right. So that's my point. Like,
That's the expansion.
yeah. And so that's been a quest this year. That's been my full-time job, right? Is to teach only love, because the best way to learn something is to teach it. And so that's part of the conspiracy. We're teaching love, and then we're learning through the process of teaching it, because when to voice something requires you to formulate it in your head, right? You can have an idea, but in order to express it, it has to be coherent and, you know, put together a little bit. And so that's part of what's happening in the brain when you go to use the throat chakra. And I mean, that's been popping up in my, even Chenga, right? She said, "Oh, Gabby's thinking I need to use my voice more." And we're using our voices more. Like, it feels very empowering to use your voice and to have this platform to do it, and then in person, hangouts to do it. It's like, it's really cool to be able to have all these opportunities to do the things that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's a good time to we've been ignoring Sid basically for the last couple of shows, but I think that's an oversight. So
Sure.
we'll just jump into. I think we're in the thought. Yes, we are in the thought chapter, page 50. So
This
halfway
is
to
this is
100.
the missing link by Sid Banks. Yeah,
Yes,
great book.
this is a missing link by Sid Banks, who develops the idea of the three principles: mind, consciousness, and thought, which he says are basically the compound, the mental compound that ties all the world together. And this was his big revelation. He was a Scottish welder in Canada, and he had his revelation, and 3 years later, he was giving metaphysical talks to MIT and Harvard. So,
Yeah, a
so
beautiful example of what's possible when even the most ordinary of people awaken.
and this is his book, which is basically his manifesto of three principles. And so the three principles, once again, are mind, consciousness, and thought. So we're talking about thought. Among the greatest gifts given to us are the powers of free thought and free will, which give us the stamp of individuality, enabling us to see life as we wish. These same gifts can also be the greatest weaknesses of mankind. We often lack the strength to change our minds, so we get stuck in negative thoughts and behaviors of the past. The purer your thoughts are, the more love and understanding will be in your heart. That's worth repeating. The purer your thoughts are, the more love and understanding will be in your heart. Positive thoughts create a healthy mind and stable life. Optimism is a spiritual quality and a guiding light that will lead you to your happiness. Pessimism, on the other hand, is a disease of the human thought system that leads the thinker into the darkness of despair. Negative thoughts create negative feelings, which in turn create negative behaviors and are the seeds of human suffering. As you sow, so shall you reap.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Sid's on it, bro. I mean, yes. I mean, that is truth. That is truth all the way through, because our thoughts do create a reality, and the mind, that's what the mind is useful for, is like to become conscious of what is sort of passing through the field, and then learn to like attune to what is in alignment. And I think that's what he's talking about when he's saying, the thinking thoughts that are pure, right? Because there's when you're thinking like some gossipy bullshit about someone, and then you say something nice, like there's a detection that the words you're saying aren't in alignment with the energy you're bringing to the situation.
Right.
And if even if that person doesn't pick up on that like fully consciously, they feel it in their body. And so being in alignment means that I'm thinking love, and I'm expressing love, and I'm feeling love. And then you're literally fucking unstoppable. Like
Right,
that's
right.
that's a force that is so magnetic. People will be drawn to you.
Well, as I see, I mean, in my present understanding of the three principles, consciousness is basically light, energy. That's basically consciousness is a basic energy. Mind is like how individuals differentiate that and separate that energy so they can understand, and then thought is how they express that understanding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had another formula. I don't know if I shared this one with you, but it's a cool formula. It's the 369, the Tesla's favorite numbers. So 3 would represent energy, 6 would represent frequency, and then 9 would represent vibration. So the energy, the life force energy in this, field, plus whatever emotion or headspace you're in, your frequency, the combination of those two elements produces the vibration that's going out. And the raise the energy, raise the frequency, raise the vibration, and now you're magnetizing a whole new experience in your life. Like your life changes.
You're becoming your own rock star, literally.
Literally.
The
Literally.
gravity of a rock star.
Yes, bro. I mean, you want to be the hero in your story, energy, frequency, like that's where you need to put your money.
And
And that could be,
vibration. Vibration is how you hit other people.
I know, but like I think it's just like that's the inevitable byproduct of the
Right.
energy of the body, the life force energy, eating foods that make you feel good or dancing in a way that makes you feel good or whatever it is, that like energizes you as a person. Plus, you know, being in those higher vibrational thoughts, right? Not letting them spiral down into the lower frequencies. That's that vigilance. And then you combine those two, you're gonna be experiencing a high vibration
Right.
experience. Like it's just, I think that's inevitable at that point.
Well,
So
I mean, Gabby, and we all, a lot of people talking about mind and heart, but basically, when they're in alignment, then you're going to go to a higher plane, and when they aren't in alignment, you're going to go to a lower plane, and that's positivity and negativity to me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically. I mean, that's the duality of this existence. You're allowed to experience whatever you want. And if you want to experience all those lower emotions and fear and anxiety and doubt, then you're allowed to. I mean, I think that's part of it almost is like, oh, well, I've experienced everything else, all the other bullshit. Maybe I'll try something different.
Right, right.
Maybe that's all a lie and it's really just love. And anything else is just something we made up to like feel a certain kind of way, to have contrast.
Right. Well, that's absolutely true, and so the duality is really, well, ultimately, I feel the duality is an illusion. Everything converges towards the center from the end of the spectrum.
Interesting. Okay. You heard it here first, guys. Duality is an illusion. Well, maybe it is, bro. I don't know. I'm open to that. I absolutely am. I mean, even now saying things that like that aren't true for me. Like like you said, a lot of people are having a hard time this year. I'm not.
Right,
I'm having the fucking best year of my life, bro. Like,
right,
and I'm painting a picture of more expansion and more possibilities next year. So I don't know what that means. That is not true. That does not resonate to me, right?
I, I understand, and yeah, you can't help being affected by the mass media somehow, and the mass media or even social media, it's just like, so, I mean, a lot of it is so negative, but actually the algorithm that I've made is actually very positive. It has like a lot of Christ consciousness and everything, but
Well, that's the thing. You are creating your algorithm. The algorithm is just a reflection of you. It's
right,
trying to give you what you want.
right.
And you can say it's nefarious, and maybe on some platforms it is. I don't know. I wouldn't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I think it's hot garbage.
I
But
don't like
or
Facebook
X,
either.
X seems like it's gnarly as hell, bro. Every time I go on there, I feel bad about myself. So I just don't do it anymore, right? And so for me, yeah, I've curated my Instagram, and 9 times out of 10, when I go on there, I feel better about myself after I get off because I'm tuning into frequencies that I believe that I agree with, that are
Right,
coherent and resonant, and artists that are creating. Creator mode is really that's the new juice,
right,
okay? Because there's consumer mode where you're publishing the memes and the this and the that. That's fine. I don't care. People send me memes all the time. I don't fucking look at them.
Right.
I'm creating a podcast. Look,
Including me.
including you, yes. But we're creating a podcast. Share the podcast, right?
Right.
Uh, record yourself in a reel. Share that. Don't share some other person's shit. Fuck that.
Well, I
Like
did share a reel that I did today.
there you go. Exactly. So that's creator mode, right? And once you start going down the road of creator mode, you're gonna. For me, it's been like I actually don't give a fuck what you're creating. Oh, there's this book you should read. Yeah, maybe, but also I'm just doing it. Like, can we just? It's time to stop studying and take the fucking test already, right?
Absolutely. That's what I've been saying since the new year.
So that means living it. It doesn't mean reading it and theorizing it and postulating it. It means doing it. It means we're here. We're here to touch stuff and
Right.
fuck. And so that's what 2026 is about. It's bringing some of that energy,
Right.
and maybe getting comfortable with our sexuality or whatever it is. Your expression, whatever it is, where you feel small and contracted. No, it's this.
Well,
Be big. Be bold.
talking about Freud is letting the true light of the libido come through. Instead of fearing the darkness of the libido, let the light of the libido shine through, and it will overwhelm the darkness of the libido. But we're so programmed, we're so deterministic that the ego has to control everything, but the libido is uncontrollable, and it's yeah. Oh no, I'm not going to generalize, but it is having a negative effect on everybody suppressing their libido and just not being themselves in order and distracting themselves through materialistic pursuits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that consumer mode, bro. It's like you walk around, you see people like zombies with a rectangle in front of their face and they're gone, right? They're not there. And there's like a a death quality about those people. Like
Right.
they're not fully alive. That's how I feel.
But
And there's a
oh, go. I
well, I'm
should
just saying
say
there's a
I,
qualitative difference between someone who is alive and creating or consuming every fucking second of their day.
I went to the Strap Hanger last night. We didn't have karaoke, but so I went there anyway, and three, I don't know. I would say at least a third of the people at the bar were just glued to their phone.
Yeah.
They're drinking their drink and they're glued to the phone. And it's okay, but that's not me.
Well, it doesn't have to be, and that's the point, right? They can have their experience. That's fine. I just don't prefer that experience. That experience doesn't seem to go anywhere. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't change your life for in a way that like this, like what we're actually doing.
You aren't being judgmental. You're just talking about what you enjoy and what you what.
Well, that's why I always
What's your
frame it as what I prefer versus what I don't prefer, right? Because it's my preference. You can prefer whatever the fuck you want. I actually don't care. But I'm going to observe it and say, okay, that's a behavior. My experience says I'm cool letting them have that and me being me, right? I'm not going to take that experience as a part of myself and become that. And,
Right.
sometimes those contrasting reminders are useful too, to be like, oh, okay, this is a reminder of why I prefer what I prefer, right? The why behind the method behind the madness. And so, you move through life in this very neutral place where you're not feeling the need to judge or condemn or anything like that, but you're also wanting to show what's possible when you
Right.
observe life from a different perspective, right? And Dijon is doing that through creating an album and publishing it, and we're doing that through creating a podcast and sharing it with the world, right? You're doing that with your poetry. There's infinite ways to do it, but the point is to if you're not doing it, do it and just see
Right.
how you feel. Create something, imagine something, and then bake a cake. I don't care, whatever it is, dude. I think sourdough bread is great. That's one of mine.
That's your specialty, Andrew.
The
And
gingerbread.
kombucha and even gingerbite, which you haven't done since I left. But
I know, but that's the point. We created that gingerbite soda, and we enjoyed it, and it was special, right? It wasn't just some average experience. It was elevated because our energy was in it, our ideas were in it. It was an expression of that, and that's me. I love to create. I love to cook. I love to sing in the car. I love to talk on a podcast, right?
you
And
telling yourself as an eligible bachelor, Commander?
something like that. Well, I am actually. I'm quite eligible and I'm quite capable, and I know that, right? And that confidence is part of this equation because why not be confident in who you are? Like the opposite of that is so unattractive.
Well, my confidence is like grown. I mean, it's grown like Nvidia in the last 6 months. It's just like taken off, and I am just, I attribute a lot of that to this podcast. But you were talking about the voice and just like practicing expressing ideas through the voice is like essential to really come into some sort of like higher conscious. I mean, whatever you want to call it, some sort of higher consciousness or being aware. But the more you express yourself, and I know I do it at length, but ultimately, the expression is the key to understanding the world and also yourself.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, there's so many things we can point to too, right? Like even the 4 agreements. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. I mean, that assumes you're using some words to express yourself, right? But if we can't use our word to speak truth, we were doing that breath work when you were in town, and at the end, there's that phrase that you repeat in Sanskrit, and it's Sat Nam, which
Right.
basically means I am truth.
Right.
And to me, that's a very foundational aspect of what that alignment, those pure thoughts are what we're talking about. Because it doesn't even occur to me to say something that isn't true. And you said like schizophrenics can't lie, right? Like, so like we speak truth all the time, without question, without alteration, without twisting it. It's just, and when you're not putting it through some bullshit filter, it's like so freeing and liberating. That's how I feel. And so I wish that for everyone.
That's where the confidence of the word comes too, because you're
Right.
speaking truth.
Exactly. And so these things build on each other is what we're pointing to, but they're all tools in the tool chest that we're using to create the reality that we want to experience. And the conspiracy is for you guys to do that too.
To our audience, and express
Exactly.
to our audience, because we got great lives, right, Andrew?
Well, I'm not complaining. That's for sure. No.
They can always get better, though.
Well, you acknowledge the wins when they happen, no matter how small, and then those will feed on themselves. It's just making that initial shift from, that internal critic and blah, 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 all that, like, to shifting to like, I love myself and I love you.
Dynamo guy.
And I love our audience, and all that is true, right? Like, I'm not making that up.
Right.
So I don't know. I would encourage our audience, if you've made it this far, leave a comment, like the video if you like it. Hit up Dale for Live Love if you want to get some more coaching. I'm going to start putting something more formal around some coaching too, I think. And certainly I'm going to be inviting people to Dharma Glow events. If you're in the Austin area, you happen to watch this, hit us up. We're on Partyful, and I will absolutely respond to a comment on this video if you want to come to our party, hell, you can be my guest if you made it this far. I'll make that happen. So we'll see if anything comes from that. But do you have a parting poem for us today, Mr.
Yeah,
B?
I gotta turn the light on because I can't read it with my 70-year-old visions in the dark. So,
Yeah, recording a little late in the day out east.
but it's just sundown in Hackensack. So this is like on the flip side of After Many Personal Growth Courses, and it's called After Meeting the Dating Coach. I met one who might be Satan today, who still pursues the atheistic way, but our encounter did not inspire fear. I'm just glad I found him and he is here, because in my life he fills a great void, though he wants me with lady to have sex, about which I don't care being schizoid, despite the wish I could have married ex, but that is a fair lost in distant past. And I have overcome my libido since for years I've simply gone with flow, hoping to find relationship to last. For the devil could become my mentor, or I could turn into his tormentor.
Okay.
This was like a dating coach I met, who actually I met in New York City. Yeah, Alex something. But anyway, I did like a lot of his courses and everything, and I finally like contacted him, and he agreed to meet me, and he told me I should take Viagra.
That's the dating coach's solution, huh? Okay. All right. Sure. There's lots of options for that now. Excellent. All right. Well, there you go. I don't know how to put a bow on that exactly, but there's a Justin Timberlake skit. Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. There's a Justin Timberlake skit from the old Saturday Night Live days, and it was called Dick in a Box. And step 1 is cut a hole in a box. Step 2 is put your dick in the box. And step 3 is let her open the box. It's the gift every woman wants. And if you made it that far and you think that was horrendous, you can let us know. But
yeah, but thank you very much for staying with us this long. And actually, I should say congratulations for making it this long. It's,
thank yourself. Thank yourself for the.
Thank you for me. I'd like to thank me for being Dale, for surviving 70 years, 50 of it as a schizophrenic, and just thank me for being here because I'm the closest thing to God this planet has seen in the last 6,000 years. So, and Andrew is the Drew Guys, so I'm Lord Drew God, he's Lord Drew Guys. We're a inseparable team, and we work together to bring about higher consciousness and awareness.
And we love you guys so much.
Yep. And leave a comment, follow, and we look forward to the next time. Have a great one.